I have delivered many storage sheds, some tiny houses. I've helped deliver many tiny houses, log cabins, all kinds of stuff. My name's Josh. Today I wanted to do a video and talk a little bit about what you might expect when you have a tiny house delivered. Tiny houses are typically a little bigger or a lot bigger than a storage shed. It depends how big you go. If you've seen the videos how storage sheds are delivered, typically they use a mule on the, not a meal that you eat, a mule. Okay, I would just call it a machine. So you put the machine on one end, you put the dolly wheels on the other end. It takes a lot of room to swing that building around. Because of the lengths of them, sometimes you can't take that machine to get this thing in, which means we have to bring our truck into your property, your yard, wherever we have to go. So I want to show a little video here that would be an example where we ended up having to use the truck instead of taking it in with the mule. So this was a cabin that was 60 feet long. And what you see here is a driveway that comes off the road downhill. I think it was a township road, so it's fairly narrow. I do apologize, this video is kind of blurry. I took it off a GoPro and then I zoomed it in a little bit, and those are two things that don't go well together. It's GoPro and zooming. Wheels on the trailer are right here. From that wheel back, you're looking at roughly, probably almost 20 feet. So when he turns, that 20 feet is going to swing. We do need room on the other side of the road for that tail to swing, but that thing can turn a lot sharper than if he had a mule on the one end, his machine, and the dolly wheels on the other end. There's just not enough room to swing that in because, well, I don't know how to explain it except that's just how it is. He's got the sideway wheels on the trailer that he can now use to take the trailer sideways, and that lines him up better. And then we bring it in. There's guys laying down. There's people all over the place. And here's where he has to drive right up into the guy's yard. He did not run in the pond. That was a good idea. Now, because it's a little bit wet, his truck spins out. He can't back up. So we have to use the sideway wheels and bring this thing over. And then he's able to use the trailer by extending and pulling it in. He's able to pull his truck back, and then we unloaded it that way. The goal is to do minimum amount of damage to the property, but you're bringing a house into your property. It's likely going to happen. If you get it delivered in the right time in the summer where it's completely dry, that's going to make a big difference. If you want it in the winter time or times when it's muddy, that's going to make a difference. Hey, look, I've changed clothes. Did you notice? Yeah, it's the next day now. As far as foundation goes, the only thing I would add for delivery purpose, it really does help if there's backfill already done and it's somewhat flat and nice around the foundation instead of all tore up. Depending on how we set this, tiny house on there, a lot of times that machine, the mule that we used, has to get in right to the wall to set this thing. So it's really nice if it's flat, filled in, so we can get around there. These are some things that I've seen over the years hinder our delivery or just mistakes that get made. And so I'm just adding these in here for you to think about. So one of the things is the size. Two things when it comes to the size that I want to mention. First, let's talk about the overall widths. So if the building you order is 14 by 40, for an example, you think 14 feet wide, right? The question is it 14 feet overall from the outside? Does the builder go by the inside? Not every builder is going to be the same. So this stuff varies, and it can vary by 6 to 8 inches or even a foot. And I would highly encourage you to make sure you measure and not just guess and be exact on that stuff, because we've encountered situations like that. I can tell you one example. This one was a guardrail on the side of the bridge going in the driveway, and it was too wide. We just could not fit. So they had to get somebody with a cutting torch, and we literally had to cut the guardrail off to get this building in. Okay, and then the second part of measurements and widths that is even more important, maybe very important, is the runners that are underneath the floor. This is where the building sits on. Sometimes those will, depends on the customer. Sometimes they sit on pillars. Sometimes they sit on block that are on top of concrete pillars in the ground. And then some of them are platform. There's a lot of different stuff. Typically the outside 4x6 runners are not all the way out. So see how the 4x6 is in a few inches. So if you want to know exactly the width of your platform or the pillars to sit it on, that needs to be clearly communicated with the builder on how wide are those things. And this is where like communication and certain words and stuff, just be very careful on the exact wording and everything, because if you're talking to the builder and they say the outside runners are 14'6" apart, could that mean 14'6" center to center? Could it mean 14'6" inside to inside? Or is it outside to outside? And then the next runners in, typically there's about 3 feet in or however widths, depending on the width of the building, there's another set of runners. How far are those? And I'm just giving examples of what could happen because I've seen this where they had pillars for the second runners and they didn't line up. So the builders asked the next runners are 56 inches in from the outside. Is that from the outside of the outside runners or from the outside hooking onto the trim? Because that might vary 3 inches. So very specific here. Maybe a really good idea would be to go out personally and measure it, or just make sure that that conversation is very clearly understood, because those few inches can throw everything off. Is it center to center? Is it inside to inside? Is it runner to runner? Is it runner to trim? Like, I know, I'm sorry, it's complicated, but I'm just putting that out there for you to be aware of. Those things can make a big difference, so you know. I would recommend making sure you have direct contact with the builder, because you might be dealing with an independent salesperson that's selling you the tiny house. So now you need to get in contact with the builder to find out those details. Okay, next let's talk about delivery. Most of the people that I know of have a free delivery priced into the building up to a certain miles, and then if it's out of state or goes further, that's going to make a difference. And that makes it easy for you, because you're like, okay, here's the cost for the tiny house delivered, so you don't have to worry about that. The other thing that goes into the cost, I'm just giving this for your consideration. Different states have different rules. A 12-white building in Ohio, we can get a permit to go any state route throughout the daytime. We cannot travel after dark and major holidays. Once it's a 14-white building, we have to have a special permit that gives us specific routes in case there's road construction that restricts the width of the road. And you need 1 pilot car. If it's a 16-white, you need 2 pilot cars. So if you're tracking where I'm going with this, is from 1 pilot car to 2 pilot car, that increases the delivery price by 1 pilot car. So the wider the building, the more the cost to your home. That's my point with this. 18 feet wide in Ohio, you need 2 pilot cars, 2 state troopers. So now we double the pilot car with state troopers, and they get paid for themselves, and they have to rent the car from the state that you have to pay. And then the other thing to consider is the heights. That's something the builder should know and needs to be aware of. If it's too high, they will route you around low bridges. And so what might be a 1-hour drive from the shop to the location might turn into a 2-hour drive, because you have to go certain routes. And even with the width, if there's construction that they have to route you around, it's going to take you further around. And so that affects the delivery cost of these tiny houses. If I would kind of bring it all together, the number one thing from experience of what I've seen with deliveries is communication. Is to make sure that there's a clear communication on the exact size and where exactly are the runners. And then expect property damage. I'm sorry, it's just part of having a house delivered. With that, I hope that if you get your tiny house, I hope you really enjoy it. Take good care of it, and peace out. Have a good one.